For the second year in a row, Harbor GameCon has attracted people to come play games in Del Norte and Curry counties. Being the game convention that serves our little area, there are plenty of challenges to face. So I sat down with organizer Ian Crockett to talk shop about running a convention and what inspired it. So, Harbor GameCon second year in a row. How many people showed up this year, do you think?
Do you know, both years it's been hard to estimate that. Being that it's a free all ages event where, people off the street can just walk in without selling tickets, it's kind of hard. I kind of had a second game plan this year to estimate people. I had name tags, and I was hoping if enough people put those on, maybe I could count those, but I don't think that was a reliable number. I kind of stopped at one point in time and did a really quick, and I would say in the room at that point in time was probably about 75, 80 people at that point in time. But we also had quite a few people that came in because they had, no idea about any type of game. And so they came in just to look at things. And so counting with those people, I would probably say throughout the day, 100, 125 again, maybe, that might even be a low estimate, but I would say that's a fair estimate.
For sure. So, having done this a couple years in a row, what kind of challenges do you face when you're making an event of this size and scope?
The largest challenge that I've ran into both years has been advertising. That's by far the hardest part of the thing. There is a lot of work involved with getting people to run games, because you need volunteers to run games. I've said a couple times that all I'm basically doing is facilitating a place for people to go, renting out this hall, setting up the tables in a nice order, making it look nice and shiny. But at that point in time, it's just me sitting in a room by myself. So advertising takes time and it takes money. And so I donated, a bunch of my time and some money through it. And every time I thought of a new avenue for advertising, I go to any place I could think of. That there was, the library had a board game day. I showed up to that, and I was gonna yell it as I walked in the door, like, there's a convention, please, come play games. The library also had one at Checo Brewing that the library was pairing up with. I went into there. I think I even went to a board game one that was at the library in Gold Beach. So definitely advertising, getting the word out. I had flyers, so I did, so advertising in person, advertising shaking hands, flyers. I printed 150 flyers this year, and so I covered, a good portion of Crescent City, a good majority of Brookings, and then I went to Gold Beach and I went up and down the main strip there in Gold Beach. So that, as well as Facebook advertising, that, you've kind of got to hit community groups, and then you also, even with the community groups, there's still a cost involved with Facebook advertising if you want someone to see it. The good thing with the Facebook advertising is that if you can see the metrics for it, so you can see the number of people that saw the post. You can, when you advertise through that, you can say what type of people you want. You can use their interests. You could say people that like board games, role-playing games, anime, and you can kind of fine-tune it there. So I think I got quite a bit through Facebook advertising, but there's also people that don't use Facebook. And then also you have radio, which I appreciate being here. That's a lot of help also. So even with all of that, I know that there's a large group of people that like to play games that didn't hear about it. My next plan for advertising is I plan on having a float or a small group of people at the Azalea parade. And so I figured there'll be a fairly large captive audience there. Mm-hmm. In the minimum, get a pole with the canvas sign on it with the name of the convention and the web page. My goal is then to get some volunteers to dress in costume, anime, role-playing game, video game, and I know that'd be something that would catch my eye and would be fun to see. So the part of getting funding, this year I was funded in part by the Brookings Elks Lodge. They helped donate the hall for me, and I came in with a business plan and spoke to them and let them know that my main goal was to make it free, all ages to attend, and make it a community event where anyone can just show up. I'm donating my time for it. So the funding, I think, as long as you have a good cause and you're forthright and you explain to people what you're trying to do, that usually comes fairly easy. It takes a lot of walking around and talking to people, though.
What would you say inspired you to start Harbor Game Con?
I moved to this area. I moved to Brookings Harbor area 2 years ago, and prior to that, I lived in Sacramento, and they don't have necessarily a giant. I mean, there's a anime con or a comic con type of thing, but there's a kind of a smaller compared to that convention that's every year, 4 times a year, I believe. And so I was used to going there and playing, Adventurers League and playing all these games, and then running Dungeon Crawl Classics and other games like that. And I missed it. After about a year of being here, I'm like, I need my fix of playing games and hanging out with people that like board games and card games and role-playing games. And I looked around and I didn't see anything in our general area. So I said, well, if someone's going to do it, I guess I'm gonna do it. Prior to that, I had no experience running any type of event before. I started both years with a business plan, and so I started with what money I would need for the advertising, how much for the hall, and I had a list of finances that I needed, as well as what type of volunteers, people to run games. Luckily, I've had quite a few people volunteer to run games. We had a packed schedule both years. I had, I believe, like 23 board games and 5 role-playing games, as well as an event for Magic the Gathering where at noon there was people playing Commander, and if you won a game, you got a free pack of cards. So I had a bunch of volunteers for that. But I shout out to I had some out-of-town guests from that came and helped me run the front door greeting people. So I needed help with that. So even with all of that, I learned a lot pretty quick. And so community need, I'd say, ultimately was the reason I started it, because I knew that there was people that wanted to play games just like I did, but there wasn't a way to do it.
What would you say the biggest lesson you learned doing Harbor Game Con would be?
I'd say the game sign up, I think the biggest correction or change that I believe that I'll probably make for the next year will be game sign up, because I was spending so much time getting people to even run the games, find the hall, advertising. That was kind of put on the back burner, and what I had the first 2 years was an open sign up that you had to physically show up to do it, and I think that's slightly inconvenient, but online signups I think is the thing I will help me next time, and will also I think help the attendees to not have to drive somewhere. And we had quite a few signups the first year. The second year not as many, but it kind of coincided with the first day. Well, maybe the first day that we had the signups was like a day that was like 30 mile per hour winds, and there was on Discord, I was posting on Discord and places like, hey, come sign up, and then there was people showing pictures of their trees that they were cutting down because it fell next to their car. I'm trying to think of another lesson learned. Breathe. I think that might be part of it too.
Mm-hmm.
I think I can get focused on it and excited about something, and I think sometimes I work a full-time regular job, and then this during the leading up months ends up becoming a full-time job also. And I think that there's some of the days when I would stop at the end of the day and there'd be nothing left, and I think that if I don't do that I'm it'd be easy to get burnt out. I think that volunteers and delegation help with that. Was so concerned about everything working perfectly the way that I envisioned it in my mind, that you could be rigid, and I think that stepping back and breathing, and then maybe accepting more help, being able to delegate more, I think would make the thing better, because you have more opinions and points of view, and then would also allow me to do other things as they come up, kind of like that, the sign up and things like that I think would help me ultimately.
When can we expect volunteer signups?
That is a wonderful idea. So if you go to harborgamecon.com, there's a way to sign up there for like a newsletter, And the good thing is I don't spam the people. So if you do sign up, I think I spent 3 last year, just kind of saying the sign-ups are about to start. If you sign up through there, I'll be able to send something out through there for that. Volunteers for the day of the convention would be good. Also, like I said earlier, the biggest volunteers are the people running the games. Without the people that volunteered their time to come run the games, there wouldn't be a convention. Like I said, it would just be me in a hall,
Right.
by myself. So the people running the games, definitely, that would be a good one. And then if you know someone who likes to play board games or card games or role-playing games, I think that let them know. that would be a volunteer spot, and that would help, I think, the convention grow.
Well, thank you for coming down. I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity, and thank you, a personal thank you from me to you for running a game both times. And I brought it up once before, but Goodman Games, Dungeon Crawl Classics. If you haven't looked that game up, you should. It's a pretty fun game.
Yeah, get on it, folks. You heard it here first. Harbor Game Con, hopefully once again next year. We'll see you same bat time, same bat place. Somewhere up in Brookings, there's going to be a hall, and you'll know. I'll make sure you know. Keep your ears to the ground for more updates on Harbor Game Con for next year at harborgamecon.com. For Redwood Voice, I'm Sebastian Monroe.